Welcome to EnVision Center News, where we discuss community impact and involvement with today's nonprofit leaders and philanthropists.
Jody, hello, and welcome to the podcast. We're going to talk about the great things that Numerica is doing for our community, but before we get into Numerica, let's talk about you a little bit. Can you give me some of your background?
Sure, you bet. Well, I was born here in Sandpoint at Bonner General.
Nice.
And
we don't have that too often, actually.
No, they call us unicorns. And so I then graduated from Sandpoint High School. My parents had a dairy farm up here and a John Deere dealership growing up. So I was raised on a farm, very fun. And then I moved down to Coeur d'Alene, attended NIC. I was first generation college student, so that was a great experience. And then as a result of NIC, they encouraged me to go on and get my bachelor's degree, of which I did, and got a bachelor's in business administration. And during that time, I had my son at 21, so I was a young mom. And, those are fun days of raising a child, going to school and working, right? Trying to make it all work. And but it was something I would not trade for a million years. And so then from there, I started at Numerica as a teller and worked my way
This is
up.
while you were still in school, you got a job?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was working, going to school, and raising my son at the time. So it was fun. And then I started as a teller and then went to a different credit union because I really wanted to pursue marketing. And it was a small credit union. And at that time, there was only 9 people in that whole credit union, from CEO all the way down.
Yeah.
And then Numerica called me back and said, hey, would you come back and do business development? So I did. And at that time, I did business development for quite a while, and I've been with the company for 22 years. And
I don't think very many people can say that about any company that they've, that's wild.
Yeah.
So they must treat you really well.
They do. And the thing I love about Numerica is it's allowed me to take so many different paths. About every 2-3 years, I go, I want to go try something different. So there's been multiple positions I've had: marketing, business development, community engagement. I ran our call center. That was a fun adventure. Did project management, ran our retail sales. So it's allowed me to kind of pursue different passions and try new things, and they trust me with that.
Yeah. So what do you do now?
So right now I am VP of Market Development for our North Idaho region.
And what does that all entail, or what does that mean?
So what I do is mainly I work a lot with nonprofits in terms of helping them with their financial solutions. I work with business owners. I work with consumers that maybe they just need a car loan, or maybe they need a home loan, things like that. So I try to get everybody into the right direction. Yeah.
And how does Numerica decide what nonprofits or charities they're going to be involved with or help out with?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we first started, Carla was started as our CEO. It's been approximately 9-10 years ago that she came on as our CEO. At that time, we really didn't have a big giving purpose in the community. When she came in, she said, we are going to be a giving credit union, and we are going to give back to our community in all the communities we serve. And as a result of that, we tried to find our niche. So we would try, supporting education, things like that. And really what it boiled down to and what we cared about was kids. So that's where our Cares for Kids was born. And so we try to help those kids that are at risk. They're on the poverty level, and they could go either way. And we try to help change their trajectory and make them so that they have a path. That if they have been living in poverty, that we can give them another hand to really just try to change their life and for future generations to come.
Okay, so that's your own, it's not just that you always attach to some other nonprofit or work project that's going, you have your own stuff, and then you also are partnering with different groups doing different things in the community.
Yeah, because there is so many nonprofits out there, so we really tried to narrow our focus and said, kids are our passion. Kids are what we want to help. Kids are our future. And there's so many nonprofits that benefit kids. And so we do try to focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get plugged into the EnVision Center?
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly how it all happened, but I just remember getting an invite from Katie to come meet, right? And just talking about what you guys do here and how you support the Sandpoint and Bonners Ferry's communities and the outlying communities, and really just a resource and hub for all the nonprofits here. And that is just so beneficial. Growing up here at the time, I don't think there was a lot of nonprofits. So to see that evolve and how much help is here for the community and those that live here is really, really great to see.
Yeah, I know that we have more nonprofits per capita than most of the country. Like, it's crazy. But you're saying that wasn't the case when you were younger. Like, what do you think has caused this? Like, why are we such a nonprofit heavy area?
Yeah, I see Sandpoint from when I grew up. I mean, it was a logging town, agricultural town. This was, I'm not going to say when I graduated high school, but this was 20 plus years ago. And just the dynamic of Sandpoint has changed. And now it's a resort town. And I think, like many resort towns, there's a large gap in demographics and income levels. And like we're seeing, in the Jackson Holes and the McCalls, the people that are here and working can't afford the homes. And so I think there's a big, I would say, probably a senior population here too that also needs help, from what I'm hearing with the nonprofits that are here. And so I believe it's that income level gap that you're seeing in most resort towns that the nonprofits are very needed here to help support those.
So really it's just people seeing the need and being like, okay, I'm going to help fill that gap by starting XYZ
Right.
nonprofit.
And yeah, exactly. And just providing things that they may not be able to afford on their own, services that they can't afford on their own, to help give them a little extra hand. Yeah.
And so so you met Katie and you learned about what the EnVision Center does, but then how did you decide where you wanted to plug in?
Yeah. So when we met with Katie, we said, what can we do to support you? And she mentioned your Festival of Trees coming up. And she said this was one of your biggest fundraisers, and we love Festival of Trees at Numerica. We are a Wenatchee Festival of Trees sponsor.
Really?
We are a Tri-Cities Festival of Trees sponsor. Coeur d'Alene, we just had Festival of Trees for Kootenai Health Foundation last weekend that Katie actually got to go to. And so Katie said, we have a Festival of Trees. And we said, we love Festival of Trees. So, we jumped right in and said, let's support you and your cause. And it's just such a great thing for the community. Everybody gets to come together and benefit from it.
Yeah. How far, or what's the region, like where are all the Numerica locations? Like how far geographically do you branch out?
Yeah. So we are Eastern Washington and North Idaho. So our furthest branches out are Wenatchee.
Okay.
And then we have Tri-Cities branches. And then we have 4 in North Idaho. We have Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, now Sandpoint. And then we're going to be opening a Moses Lake branch in 2026.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know what's normal for a credit union as far as giving. Like I'm kind of assuming Numerica is above average, but I don't know that for sure. Can you tell me a little bit more about the credit union culture? Like what is it that makes Numerica maybe special or different from other credit unions out there and the way that you give back?
Yeah, I think with Numerica is we try to, like I said, identify, and we do try to be one of the top leaders for credit unions are measured by their asset size. So that's how your size is measured. And so we try to be one of the top leaders in giving back. We usually give back over $1 million a year to our communities that we serve. And every year we try to give a little bit more so we can up that. But it's just been working for Numerica and watching us give back to the community is such a rewarding experience and a job perk that most don't anticipate. That we get to walk around and everybody says, thank you for giving back to our community and thank you for supporting this. And it's just really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite, I guess, project or nonprofit or some things that Numerica has done? You've been there for a long time. What's been your favorite experience in that lane?
Wow. There has been so many. It's really hard to narrow it down to just one. I do love when we find a theme like the Festival of Trees and stick with it for all the communities. We do try to support similar causes in every community. One of my favorite is we do the CDA on ice. So it's an ice skating rink down in Coeur d'Alene. So that's fun. It's a great community recreation activity that they can do. Yeah.
Fun. And tell me, I know there's another project that you're involved with here, local, in the Sandpoint area. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. That's our Numerica Ski to Read program. And we partnered with Schweitzer, and we met with the school district. We met with Schweitzer executives and said, how can we bring something reading that comes to the schools? So we started out in the elementary schools, and then we quickly evolved to middle schools, because the elementary schools, they get their puppies when they read, and there's
They get puppies when they
get
read?
from PACE. So they get puppies when they read in first grade. And so they do have some incentives for their reading program. But when they get into the middle school age, they get forgotten. And there's not a lot of incentives to keep them reading. And so we partnered with Schweitzer, the school district, and said, how do we keep everyone engaged, these kids engaged, keep them reading? Because you have to, in order to learn, you have to read. And so that was the biggest thing for us. And so as a result of that, they have to complete 10 hours of reading by November 21st. And then once they do that, they turn in their reading logs, and they get either movie passes, or they can choose to get a free not season pass, day pass at Schweitzer. So we're excited to get those numbers. We're waiting on the numbers from the middle schools still.
So was this the reading issue, or like middle schoolers kind of being forgotten? Was that something you sort of knew about? You had your finger on the pulse of, or did you just go to the schools and say, we want to do something with reading, tell us what the issue is, and then they said middle school? Yeah,
that's pretty much what we did. We said we want to partner with Schweitzer to be able to offer ski passes, however that looks, and where is your need? Yeah, because we definitely want to get their feedback on what we can help them improve on with the kids.
And was this the first year that you've done it? Okay.
Yeah. So we just launched it, rolled it out at the beginning of the school year. We went and did a big assembly at the middle school. I learned, what 6-7 means now. So I feel kind of hip and cool. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. The kids were all hyped up about it for sure.
Were they? I was going to ask, what was the reception of that? Like, hey guys, read.
Yeah,
I look out, the middle schoolers are just like, no.
I had forgotten how loud pep assemblies were until that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were part of another.
Correct.
It wasn't just you getting out there and saying, hey guys, you want to read?
Yeah, we were tagged into an existing pep assembly, but those kids can get loud in that pit gym. Yeah.
You say that now, and I'm like, it has been since I was in high school that I went to a pep assembly, and yeah, they were I've kind of forgot pep assemblies were even a thing until you just said that. It just sparked something in me.
Yeah, it was fun. When your watch gives off that it's a loud environment, that happened several times during the pep assembly. Wow. So it was fun.
So I guess you'll find out kind of what the engagement was, how many kids participated, and then assuming it's a success, you might tweak something, I don't know, and go on with it and do it again next year.
Right. Yes. So we had a few other middle school age organizations in the community and outlying communities. So Clark Fork Junior High, Junior Senior High reached out. Can we participate? So we said yes. Homeschooler Academy reached out, and we said yes. And then I believe a couple of private schools have reached out as well. And so we've incorporated more than just Sandpoint Junior High.
Wow, word has really spread fast about it. People want those passes.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So it's been great.
Yeah. I wish there was a way to know. I'd be curious as to what movies the kids picked.
I know. Well, especially, I don't know if Wicked's up here, but, maybe.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it was up here. And then is there a deadline for them to use the passes?
They have to use it this ski season.
Okay. So even if they do a movie, they still have to do it during the ski season. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And you said that Numerica gives like $1 million or thereabouts every year back to the community. And how does it determine like which branch gets, is it kind of based on the population of that area, or how is that determined?
Yeah, we do look at population as our giving philosophy. Obviously, we have a heavy presence in Spokane, so we do a lot of giving in Spokane. But yeah, we do look at our branch density and how many branches we have in those communities when we make our giving decisions. Yeah.
Do you personally have to drive around to all of them? Are you always on the road constantly?
I am on the road. Amanda Swan is our VP of Community Engagement. So she is really the one that works a lot with the nonprofits in terms of determining what we're going to be sponsoring. Carla, our CEO, she always has her thoughts on what we give as well, and always has her hand in it. So she is very passionate about what we give to as well.
So here's a question that's kind of like pivoting a little bit, but not really. So you mentioned the like VP of community engagement. So one thing that we talk about and we highlight all the time here on the podcast is, you know, obviously nonprofit leaders, people who are just involved with charitable work, that sort of thing. And there's some people that come on and they know, like, I knew that I wanted to work at a nonprofit, and they knew that meant that they probably wouldn't make very much money and that the nonprofit world operates a little bit differently from the for-profit world. But then you have people that are in the for-profit world, but then are like you, or you know, they just are philanthropic in the way that they operate and they do things that way. But I feel like the community engagement type of role is actually kind of in between, where maybe you didn't want to do full-on nonprofit work, you wanted to be more in the for-profit space, but then you wanted to be in that kind of giving position where you're still kind of have a nonprofit mindset in a sense. What would you advise somebody, you know, you said that you were like, hey, I'd like to try this, I'd like to try that, and you kind of bounced around. But somebody who knows, like, that's the kind of role that I'm looking for. I want to have meaning. I want to feel like my job really is giving back and doing something for the community, but I don't know that I want to like go work for the Red Cross or something like that. How do you find, what's the path to that at a place like Numerica?
Yeah, well, I would say with Amanda, because I was doing her role before she came on, and I just kind of was in marketing, and then when we upped our community engagement game, Carla asked me if I would fill that spot and help us get a bunch of nonprofits to support and find good events for us to be a part of. And Amanda came to us from a nonprofit. And so she, at the time, we did kind of recruit her because she was a rock star. And she knew, it was nice because she had seen both sides. So she knew from a nonprofit in terms of what it took to run the organization and to make it successful. And so when she looks at then the nonprofits that we're supporting, she can be able to determine their need because she's been there, she's lived it. And so it's really a unique situation with her. But I would say the advice for a nonprofit trying to jump over to the for-profit world is, you know, really get to know your industry and how that would benefit that organization. You know, we never say we want to do things for recognition, but we do like to get our name out there.
Right.
And so there are ways that you can explore that you can really help to activate some of the sponsorships that happen. So that's one thing that Amanda's team has done very well, is they've taken a sponsorship and they may say, okay, you get a table for 8 and you get your name on the screen. And Amanda's team will take it and go, okay, we're going to take it one step further. We're going to give you light up Christmas trees or that say Numerica on them or whatever it may be. We did an event down in Coeur d'Alene called Wine, Women, and Shoes, and we did a final fry. So as ladies were walking out, you got a thing of fries from Numerica. So that is one thing I would say as a nonprofit leader trying to jump over into the for-profit world for a company to represent and help the other nonprofits is find ways that you can help engage your company more in the community in terms of amping up those sponsorships instead of just writing the check and saying this is what we get for our sponsorship.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking about this as I walked in to this building today. I wasn't actually thinking about it in the context of Numerica, but I was like looking over at Lighthouse, you know, right there. And I just think, Lighthouse. Everyone just treats them like we should get Lighthouse to sponsor. We should, you know. people are just I can't even imagine how many people are always probably banging on their door being like, can you donate to this? Can you donate to that? Can we get a check for this? Can we get a check for that? And now that Numerica is really kind of a leader in that way too, and you sponsor so much and are so involved, I imagine you get the door knocked on quite a bit. How do you manage that? Having to you can't say yes to everyone.
Yeah, and that was a lot of the reason that we started our mission, Cares for Kids, so that we could really narrow our focus on a kids nonprofit giving back to help the kids, because we were getting everything, from humane societies. And we do have a donation form that they can fill out. It may not be a large sponsorship similar to Festival of Trees, but we will always try to give something to help them. Maybe it's a basket for an auction or some kind of a donation. Yeah. But really narrowing our focus has helped to kind of prioritize our giving in the ways that we give. And really advertising that too. We have commercials out on TV. We try to advertise Cares for Kids so people do understand our mission.
Okay. Because I think that's good advice too to somebody who maybe owns a business. Maybe it's not as big as Numerica, but anybody who's like, okay, I want my business to be involved in the community. I want to give back. I can't donate to every single bingo that,
right.
when the kids come through and they're like, donate to this, donate to that. But it sounds like kind of the best advice is to pick a cause, be very clear about what your mission will be as you're getting involved, whether it's kids or veterans or animals or the environment or whatever. And then that will help. It'll empower you to say no,
right.
but be able to back it up and not just say, this is just a whim. I'm not feeling your cause right now. Be like, okay, no, we are focused on the environment. This bingo that's, raising money for the VFW, it doesn't really have anything to do with, preserving the forest. So we're not going to give to that. Basically, that's the tact.
That is a tact. And again, we always do try to give a little something. So maybe for your bingo, we'll give you a gift card. So there's some kind of a support there. But we do try to support as much as we can. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever have you had any, because, you mentioned what a credit union does too is help in the finance. You're dealing with business owners and folks all the time. Have you ever had someone come to you and say, like, how do we get better at giving?
Yeah, we have. Yep. We have definitely had a lot of business owners say, you're out in the community. How do you do it? How do you focus in on one cause? Yes. So we've had a lot of business members come to us, or they will want to align with us. And, we always try to support our members as well. And so we've helped them in that way too. They may have a cause that they're very passionate about. And so we like to try to support them and their causes as well.
So do you almost become like a coach in that way if you have someone that comes to you?
Yeah, we've had I've had personally a few businesses reach out and say, okay, what are the big events that I need to be a part of in the community? They might be new to the community, just moved here, don't know anybody. And so trying to get them connected with the community, because they do want to give back and they want to, make sure their money is going to causes that are really important to our communities.
And do you feel like you have like a healthy bias towards wanting to do things in Sandpoint since this is where you're from? And do you still have family here?
I do. Yeah. My mom is still up here. She's still on the farm, which is fun. Yeah. She's all by herself. But so mom is still up here. Yeah, I do love this community. I'm fortunate. I have a place at Schweitzer, so I get to spend some time up on the hill.
Lovely.
And so I don't tell anybody, but I do love Sandpoint and all the causes up here.
I feel like that would be the hardest thing is if I worked at was in a similar position as you, and it'd be like, let's keep giving back to Sandpoint. Sandpoint. It's like, we have other branches. We can't always give to Sandpoint. Yes, you can.
Yeah. It's been fun to reconnect, friends from high school, because I really wasn't up here that much in the business world that before our branch was coming in. And so to come back and remember everybody from high school, it's really fun. Yeah.
Where's so there's Moses Lake is coming in 2026. Is there like a 10-year plan, 5-year plan? Where else are we going to see Numerica?
Americas.
Yeah, so we are on an expansion. We are looking to expand our branch footprint over the next 5 years, especially. So I can't tell you all the places because I don't even know them. But right now we just have Moses Lake on the docket and has been announced. But yeah, we are looking to expand.
It sounds like it's just exploding lately because, it's not that many branches, but a lot of them were recent. So at the beginning of your career, it wasn't that way. And now 20 years in, it's like really taken off, it sounds like.
Yeah, when I started at Numerica, there was 6 branches. And now I believe Moses Lake will be our 23rd.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, there's been a lot of growth, but it's all been great growth. You know, the Northwest has grown. People are moving to the Northwest.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are moving here are familiar with credit unions because they're coming from areas that have credit unions. And so they want to join a credit union when they get here that's local. And so that's really where we've seen our growth is the migration that has come in.
Yep. And then this isn't really why you were here to educate on this, but could you just talk, like, I'm sure you have kind of your elevator pitch or whatever, like the difference between a credit union and a bank.
Yeah, you bet. So credit unions, you're going to hear my elevator pitch
Okay.
of 22 years. Credit unions are a not-for-profit financial institution. So what that means is all the money that we make goes back into our members. So we're able to charge less fees. So when you have a loan fee, ours are less. We have higher interest rates on our savings and lower interest rates on our loans. So we're a cooperative model where a bank has stockholders. So they have stockholders that own a certain amount of stock, and those stockholders are very tuned into the performance of the financial institution. And so that's the main difference between a bank and a credit union is we are not-for-profit, and we try to give back to our members.
Why would someone choose a bank over a credit union?
I probably shouldn't say that, but I would definitely choose a credit union if I were in the market for a financial institution, especially being a consumer. But, you know, some people, that's all they've known as banks growing up. I mean, I can say as a part of my family, we were always with banks. Growing up, I wasn't familiar with credit unions until I started working at one.
I know I used Navy Federal Credit Union, so it's what I know.
Yeah.
Though we did use banks as a kid, but I remember asking my mom when I was an adult and like deciding where am I going to put my paycheck, and her explaining basically what you have about credit unions, and me asking her the same question, like, well, why would I do a bank then?
Right.
And she was like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know until they join or they've talked to someone that gives them the 30-second elevator speech. And so, yeah, it really does take some education for people to understand what a credit union is. And that's my job is I get to go out and educate people on credit unions and how it benefits you being a part of one.
And just even if you're not a part of one, you have to at least say, you have to respect a place like Numerica, right? That's giving back to the community. The kids that you're giving the passes to, their parents aren't members of a credit union or not members of Numerica necessarily. You're still just giving back to the kids and the families and the people living where the credit union is, which I'm not saying banks never do that. Of course, we've all seen banks sponsoring stuff too, but there does seem to be a different kind of culture that goes along with a credit union.
Yeah, and the credit unions are unique. With banks, they have a Community Reinvestment Act, so they are they have to give back a certain percentage of their profits back to the community. And credit unions, we do not have that. So what we give, we choose to give. And a lot of times it's a lot more. So.
Throwing shade at the banks a little bit. Okay, well, Jody, is there anything that we didn't get to that you were hoping to highlight to here today?
No, I think we're just proud to be a part of this community. A lot of people miss Pizza Hut. We've heard the stories, of people saying really sad Pizza Hut's gone, but it was gone before we got here. So it's not like we took it out. But yeah, we're just proud to be a part of this community. I'm especially proud being born and raised here to be back. It's grown so much, changed so much, and it's been fun to do business here.
Yeah, well, thank you for what you do. Thank you to Numerica for sponsoring the Festival of Trees, and for folks listening. We had part of the event was this last weekend, but we've got more going on. The Festival of Trees event in itself is just growing year after year, so people should check that out and be sure to participate. And again, thank you, Jody.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. For more information, you can go to crecIdaho.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again soon.